Back to the inside in the braking zone, more contact. Alex is probably going to clear right here. Bubba's going to go to the inside, into the back bumper of the 48.
Wow. I mean, the back and forth.
Oh, more contact right there.
What is it about Bubba and Bowman? They just get connected. We saw it at the Roval a few years ago. We saw it here last year. What a mess heading to turn one.
What really happened between Alex Bowman and Bubba Wallace in Chicago wasn't just a racing incident. It was a clash that had been building for over a year. And this time, with $1 million on the line, it exploded in front of everyone. The Grant Park 165 wasn't just another street race. It was round 2 of NASCAR's high-stakes in-season challenge, and tensions were already running high. 8 drivers were fighting for just as many spots in the semifinals. For Bowman and Wallace, the pressure wasn't just about points, it was personal. Their rivalry had deep roots, and this race was the perfect stage for the next chapter.
We saw it at the Roval a few years ago. We saw it here last year. What a mess heading to turn one.
It's going to send Bubba wide right here, but Bubba can retaliate down here in turn 2.
Even before engines fired, the trash talk was already heating up. Wallace reminded everyone of last year's Chicago race when Bowman wrecked the hell out of me to steal a win. "We're not even," Wallace warned, making it crystal clear that their beef was still simmering. Asked whether they'd take it easy on each other, Wallace didn't mince words. Ask Alex what he did last year. $50,000 versus $1 million, pennies. Bowman, for his part, kept it cool, at least on the surface. He deflected with humor, joking that he and Wallace had grabbed a McDonald's lunch and opened a joint savings account. But under the sarcasm, you could tell these two were headed for another collision. And then the skies opened up. Literally. Rain clouds loomed over Chicago, threatening to interrupt the Grant Park 165. The race began under storm warnings, with meteorologists predicting afternoon thunderstorms smack in the middle of the event. For drivers and crews, the wet conditions meant chaos. For Bowman and Wallace, it meant one more unpredictable variable in an already volatile showdown. The street course itself only added more tension.
Here we go, front row, McDowell, Van Gisbergen off of turn 12, and we are racing on the streets of Chicago.
Tight turns, slick pavement, and concrete barriers turned every lap into a gamble. And while Shane Van Gisbergen eventually took the checkered flag, the real fireworks came from the Bowman-Wallace saga playing out mid-pack. Drivers were already tiptoeing through each sector of the course, knowing one mistake could mean a race-ending crash. That's the environment Bowman and Wallace found themselves in as the laps wound down. With 6 laps to go, it all boiled over. Bowman, on fresher tires, had the pace advantage and was gunning for 7th. Wallace was defending hard, knowing that if Bowman passed, his shot at the $1 million prize was over. The two clashed coming out of turn 8, setting off a chain reaction that turned tight racing into full-on demolition.
Bubba and Bowman, they just get connected. We saw it at the Roval a few years ago. We saw it here last year. What a mess heading to turn 1.
Bowman described the contact as being absolutely demolished, likening himself to a pinball slammed between the wall and Wallace's car. In turn 12, and then again in turn 2, Bowman took heavy hits from both Wallace and the track walls. But Wallace didn't escape unscathed. Coming out of turn 2, Bowman returned the favor, intentionally or not, nudging Wallace from behind. The result? Wallace spun out, breaking a toe link and plummeting to 28th. Bowman limped across the line in 8th place, securing a spot in the in-season challenge semifinals. Wallace's run was over. The drama wasn't. After the checkered flag, the two met face-to-face in the garage. Bowman, clearly shaken, admitted he regretted not speaking to Wallace earlier in the weekend. "I wish I would have talked to him before all my interviews," he said. Bowman claimed it was a miscommunication. He thought I was crossing him over, suggesting that Wallace believed he was being set up. But for Wallace, it was cut and dry. He'd been run into the fence. Their conversation post-race was tense but respectful. There were no fists thrown, no public outbursts, just a heavy silence laced with frustration. Wallace kept his cool, telling reporters he was proud of the fight he gave. Bowman reiterated that he didn't intend to wreck anyone, but acknowledged the fallout. This wasn't the first time these two had danced the dance. At last year's Chicago race, a Bowman block sent Wallace into the wall. That time, Wallace retaliated by splashing water on Bowman during the cool-down lap. The 2024 incident had all the makings of a rivalry in bloom, and this year's sequel only added fuel to the fire.
And Bubba Wallace decides to...
Well, remember earlier at the
aggressive.
48, spun the 23.
And yet, what makes this story even more intriguing is the way both drivers handled the media spotlight afterward. Bowman was visibly uncomfortable, torn between justifying his actions and expressing genuine regret. His crew had told him on the radio not to back down. "We're not playing nice with this motherfucker." But in front of the cameras, he tried to steer away from villainy. Wallace, in contrast, didn't dodge any questions. He called it how he saw it. He felt wronged and made sure everyone knew it. The Bowman-Wallace feud is now one of the most talked about storylines of the season, and it couldn't have come at a more pivotal time. With Bowman advancing to round 3 at Sonoma and Wallace out of the challenge entirely, fans are already speculating whether this tension will carry into the next races. The post-race reactions online were just as polarized. On Reddit's r/NASCAR, fans argued over who was at fault. One user wrote, "Bubba knew he was at a disadvantage," and Bowman said, "Look, you aren't going to force me into the wall. You'll just put yourself in the wall. It's racing." Another added, "Hard on track, chill off it." Exactly as it should be. But not everyone was buying the sportsmanship angle. Some pointed to radio chatter before the incident. Bowman's crew reportedly said, "We're not playing nice with this motherfucker." That line alone sent shockwaves through the fan base and fueled conspiracy theories about intent. Meanwhile, NASCAR's tournament bracket is shifting quickly. Bowman will face Ty Dillon in the next round, a matchup that pits raw speed against underdog momentum. Dillon advanced after Brad Keselowski crashed early, making him the Cinderella story of this year's challenge. But with Bowman carrying all the drama and firepower, the focus will be squarely on how he handles the pressure.
Oh, there's a big
Dillon, look
crash.
at this. Dillon with so much damage just finished 6th in the stage, and the whole back end of the car torn off.
Oh, they had such a good day going.
And let's not overlook the race winner, Shane Van Gisbergen. He claimed his second Chicago Street victory in 3 years, but because he wasn't part of the in-season challenge bracket, his win didn't shake up the standings. Still, his presence reminded everyone that street courses breed chaos, and chaos tends to favor the bold. The broader picture? Chicago once again proved why street racing has become a must-watch in NASCAR. The tight confines, unpredictable weather, and short fuse tempers create the kind of drama that fans crave. It's not just about who wins. It's about who survives. And with so many eyes on this evolving format, the in-season challenge has successfully done what it was designed to do: inject real stakes and emotion into mid-season racing. As the dust settles and eyes turn to Sonoma, one thing is clear. This wasn't just a race. It was a statement. Bowman survived the storm, literally and figuratively, and now he's got a target on his back. Wallace may be out of the tournament, but he's not out of the story. Because if there's one thing this rivalry has proven, it's far from over. If you've been hooked by the chaos, the controversy, and the high-speed drama, don't just scroll past. Hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss a moment. Got a hot take on the Bowman-Wallace feud? Drop it in the comments and let's hear your side. Is this rivalry just getting started, or has it already gone too far? You be the judge. Either way, buckle up. This NASCAR season is only getting wilder.